Welcome to See It and Feel It with Dr. Brett. And I'm Dr. Brett. And today I'm here with Jay Hegland. Is that how you pronounce your last name? Awesome, man. He is officially a boat captain, but he has a background in golf and he played mini tours. And so we met a couple weeks ago and I thought you'd be a really fun guest that way. But
Thanks
for me, hey, yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
welcome. But for me, not having grown up in South Florida, I'm fascinated. I even asked you that in person. I'm like, what's it like to grow up in the Keys? Like, that seems so chill compared to, I'm from Fairfield County, Connecticut, where it's so intense. So tell us about growing up, how you got into golf, and then we'll talk about everything else.
Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Cool.
I'll tell you what, man, it was, especially looking back now, like the way things have kind of become, with just kind of losing, connection with, the natural world and stuff. I grew up walking to the bus stops, walking everywhere, hanging out in the neighborhood, going out on the boat with friends, just enjoying things. So it was a really good experience growing up there.
Yeah.
And
how tiny is the key? Is it like, were you in Isle Morada? Which key were you in?
I was in Marathon.
So
that's mile marker 50.
Okay.
Key Largo starts mile marker 120, and Key West is mile marker 0. So I was dead in the center of the Keys.
Wow.
Very small town. It was good, I didn't, it was a fun time. We're editing this out right here.
Keep
I don't
going.
know. It's weird, dude. I don't know. I
just
feel
keep
like
going.
all of a sudden, like, come on, man.
I mean, like, no one's asked you this probably in forever,
no, I feel
right?
so weird now. Like, what do I
It's
say? I mean, it was, but it,
like, because
it
I
was
didn't
good.
grow up in like the Keys,
it was,
right?
I
so
try
like
not
you
to-
grew
it's
up in
so
this
weird.
little. Were you like the best, basketball, like golfer? What were you before you became a golfer?
Well,
because there couldn't have been that much competition, I assume.
There wasn't a lot of competition, and that was honestly probably looking back now, as far as sports psychology goes, like not my biggest downfall, but it was definitely like a big fish in a small pond, but I was actually more like a medium to large size fish in like a really small pond. So I had no context on like how to I had a good work ethic, but it wasn't enough. But I was good. I played all the sports growing up. My dad played professional baseball.
Did he
so
really?
I always thought
in the minor league system, or did he?
Minor league system. He got to AAA, and I guess he hurt his shoulder. I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. That's what he told me.
That's the story, right?
That's the story. We're sticking to it. I'm fine with that. But so I grew up playing baseball a lot. I played basketball, and once I reached like high school age, I was a late bloomer. I was very small. So I decided to play golf. I could either play golf, play football, or run cross country.
Right.
So I decided to play golf.
Wow.
And I tried out for the team, small school. It was a middle school merged with the high school.
Wow.
So I had an opportunity to play JV
Just kind of
and
walk
varsity.
right on and just
basically.
play.
We were on the same campus, so technically, long story short, I did the whole little tryout for the golf team. It was the fall season, so right when we started school, it was like the first week. I was like, football, cross country, or golf. I figured I'd give golf a try.
Right.
And they put me on varsity 7th grade.
And that's amazing.
Which was cool,
So you just had natural athletic ability. Was that part of it?
Through baseball and stuff. I was always obsessed with, just like active things. You know what I'm saying? So it was good. Great opportunity. I was blessed, to be able to do that. So.
And then you went to Hawaii, and you played on the golf team there?
I did.
Which program in Hawaii did you go to?
It was University of Hawaii at Hilo. So it was
Hilo. So where's Hilo?
So we got the Big Island, which is technically Hawaii Island.
Right.
It is the furthest island to the east. So you think of Hawaii Island, you got the island chains. You got 1, 2, 3, it kind of trickles down.
Because I've been to Kauai a bunch.
That's a little further to the west.
Yeah,
exactly. So Hilo it's on the eastern side of Hawaii Island.
The Big Island.
It's on the it's on the western side
of the Big Island.
The Big Island. Right. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. And so what was that like? D2? Is that what you said?
D2 school. I studied. I got my degree in agribusiness. So I just studied a lot of horticulture, botany, plant studies at the same time as playing golf because I like plants. and I like the natural world. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
I decided to do that. So
very cool.
Yeah.
And how long were you on that golf team for?
I was on that golf team for 2 years.
Yeah.
I went to school in Florida. I was a walk-on actually.
Wow.
Yeah, so I took it was a long journey. I'm not necessarily like what you would call like a star.
Yeah.
But I'm really good at the game, and
Yeah.
you know, I think I am, and I've proven it a little bit here and there. But it was a long journey. It was being from the Keys. It's tough, you know.
Yeah.
In my kind of the generation, you know, if you weren't like traveling, playing national tournaments, you know, traveling, doing that, I was down in the Keys, so it was hard for me to travel a lot.
Totally.
You know.
How long did you do the mini tour thing when you tried to
probably
be a pro?
Probably about a year, and that was probably
that?
about 2 years ago. So it took me a long time. I'm 31 now. So as soon as I graduated college, I thought about getting my master's and going and pursuing my next 2 years of eligibility. But I really loved fishing, and during my time of college, I was always working on boats and traveling. So, So I mean, I don't know.
So
if you want to go
just
into
tell me
that,
about
or,
those. Tell me about that year,
like that journey.
Yeah, what was that like?
I'm not like, honestly, dude. I don't really have like the best like.
Yeah.
I'm not what you would call like a successful golfer, dude.
You
I'm more of like the more like. I don't want to call myself a failure, you know, but like I definitely like didn't, you know, reach like the potential that I thought like.
But I think a lot of people go through that. That's why it's super valuable to talk about this, because I think you're more the norm than not. I mean, if you think about the PGA Tour, like, what you're doing, what you're sharing. Look, I'm interviewing people that are athletes, but not all of them reached some pinnacle of success, because it's invaluable to teach people. Like when you look back on your life's journey, you go, look, I wish I had more exposure to the mental game. I wish I'd done more sports psychology. I wish I'd like practiced harder, right? So you're actually helping people.
On that note, like, all right, I'll just say something.
Yeah,
like,
please.
Because I didn't, you know, I guess I scramble a lot, but like you asked what I kind of like what, so I played golf fall season, and I was all county, played in the state championship, you know.
That's fantastic.
Made it far. I went and played winter. I played soccer.
Wow.
And I was all county goalie and like all state. Like I was MVP of the team, MVP of the golf team for like 6 years.
Yeah.
And then I played baseball, and I was MVP of the baseball team. And we went to regionals and in the state of Florida. So like I played every sport. So I was a really good athlete. Yeah. Those are good things that I did.
Yeah,
just my natural stuff, and I wish I would have worked harder.
Yeah,
you know, but it's just like really hard for me. I feel like a mental midget, honestly, a lot of the times. Like when it comes to like when I compare myself to like obviously the greats, because that's what you want to be. You want to be great, you know, like that's what I want to be. Yeah. You know, why wouldn't you want to be?
Yeah, of course.
But it's I don't know, man. It was I definitely have the natural ability, but I don't necessarily have put myself in the right situation to work hard. You hear about stuff. It's not what you're born with. It's
I think
a
lot of pros actually feel at times like mental midgets. I think almost everybody goes through something like that at some point.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you think about even like a guy like Hendrik Stenson, who was like at one point, you know, top 5 in the world or something. Yeah. He went down to like 500 or something. We all know what happened to Tiger. Right. I mean, if you look at a lot of tough golfers,
you gotta have respect for those guys.
Yeah, Stenson fought his way all the way back. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, so I think like, and these we're talking about like the top 200 or 300 in the world that have all sort of crashed at some point or felt like mental midgets or lost their game at some point. But then there's probably another 100,000 that you're representing that were just talented people that didn't make it. And when they look back on their life journey, they have some regrets because they didn't have the guidance or the coaching or the mentoring. I think that's probably my guess is that's probably
right there. You're very accurate there. You know, and I'll tell myself like from a psychology standpoint, I'm only 31, and you know, I have it in my book, my hand of cards to keep playing events professionally here and there, because you know, it's just weird. I psych myself out. That's why I needed your help. That's initially why we hit it off, because you know, I'll go out with my buddies and shoot a 65 and then go play in a tournament 2 days later and shoot a 75.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's why I feel like a mental midget, because I like overanalyze everything.
Yeah.
And I'm so like, that's why I love fishing, you know, because it's just like a quick reaction thing for me.
But
people
also
think fishing is like sitting there, you know,
yeah.
with a bobber, but the type of fishing I do, it's very reactionary. So like, I wish I could probably be more of like a basketball player, but I don't have the physical abilities to be a basketball player, because I make the best reactions out of like my, you know, instinctual stuff.
Yeah, totally.
When I have to sit there and wait for some idiot to fucking take 4 practice swings, I'm like,
I love
it takes a long time, and I'm like, fuck, like,
well,
let's just go.
You don't have the background. You know, you just didn't learn the sports psychology element of it.
I did not know about golf, man.
Right, the
You're
learning.
Right.
I've been
You're
fishing.
So right.
Well, I've also been fishing since I was 2, and I've spent many days at sea. You know, you probably don't know that because we just met, but I've had experiences on fishing boats where it's exactly like you said it. It's like you got 4 hours of nothing, and then you're in the fucking, you know, you're in the mix, and it's so fast, and you got to be reactionary.
Right.
Like you said, you have to handle all these things happening at once, right? When you're in a school of tuner or something, or whatever it is. So I get that piece, but in golf, right, you're spending a lot of time between shots, and if you're not training your mind to be in the moment, then you're, you know, and if you can't put the shot behind you that you just, you know, duck hooked or something, you're dead.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
So learning how to like train your mind, a lot of people aren't exposed to that, right? I'm teaching meditation, mindfulness, visualization, breath work, and a host of other skills that sort of help you get so oriented into the here and now. You're doing that naturally on a fishing boat, but part of it is the background. When you're out there on the water, all those elements are helping you shut your mind down. In other words, because I've spent many days fishing, right? So it's like it's just easier.
It's calming.
Yes, it's so calming, but it's like the ions, the water, the ocean, the sky.
Yeah.
It's like slowing your mind. A lot of times when you're fishing, like, as you know, you're a captain and everything, but it's amazing how almost no one talks sometimes.
Yeah.
Because everybody's mind.
In the right situation. Trust me, there's some times where you
gotta
say, hey, what the fuck are you doing,
totally.
man?
Yeah. Well, there's some people.
Like, you're supposed to know that.
Well, you have guests, though, that probably, when you have guests all the time,
that's people that work for you. You can't talk to the guests like that. No, you don't say anything.
But I remember one time that we actually were off Montauk 4 days in a row in a 24-foot boat, 60 miles offshore, tuna fishing in a 24-foot boat, right? And like
brave,
4 days in a row. Anyway, the captain said to me, it was just me and a buddy, and then the guide, right, the captain. And he says to me, whispers in my ear, and he goes, "Your friend has a lot of 5-year-old tendencies," right?
Talking about you?
No, my friend. I don't have. I'm like, I'm like a fucking cool dude here, right?
Yeah.
But the point is, though, like, you're seeing that all the time when you take people fishing. You're seeing their 5-year-old tendencies.
Dude, grown ass men, and it's so funny when you watch a 7-year-old girl wind in a fish better than a grown man, and they listen. You know, they don't get in their own head. All these preconceived notions about life just flood their brain, and they can't seem to like just sit back and just like think about shit. And that's how I feel on the golf course. Yeah, honestly.
Thanks for watching See It and Feel It with Dr. Brett, and stay tuned for part 2 of this interview. Remember to like, subscribe, and share with a friend.